sucked on my bones. With the drinking and the beating and the plotting and the scheming and the shouting and the screaming, bitching in between. Now I'm pressing fingers and never thought of shouting out pain.
Live from the podcast rooms in Glasgow, it's all about the Gers with Ricki Neill, Derek Ferguson and Charlie Miller.
Hello and welcome to All About the Gers podcast. Sorry for the wee delay there. The wee technical hitch because Derek went through a tantrum. How are you doing, guys? It's good to be all back.
Yep. Don't blame me,
guys?
you bam.
He has to blame somebody for his malfunctioning brain.
I know.
You're
Anyway,
a technically gifted guy. I saw what you done.
that's it. But before we start, we've got a new sponsor. So we just want to say hello to Crown Embroidery. They're actually brilliant. I had my top on last week. You seen it, didn't you? The All About Gers.
I see that you're looking after yourself and me
Aye,
and Charlie.
I know.
I've still not received anything, any gear.
I'm sure John will sort you out with some
I'm
nice...
still wearing my training gear every day.
But also, thank you to our sponsors, DB Dental Care, ISG Resin Flooring Specialist, Plugged In IT Business Solutions, and Giant C Architectural. You can actually check them all out on our website, which is allaboutthegers.co.uk. But anyway, Charlie, it's good to have you back.
Good to be back, guys.
How was
Good
Dubai?
to see yous. It was great. It was great.
First of all, did you behave yourself?
I was pissed, to be fair. I was rough when I got back. It was 2 days. I was lying on the couch, no great.
Did you play? You're okay for the game, but weren't you?
I played. I scored a goal in the game. Well,
I saw the goal.
Right.
It's
goals.
unbelievable.
I've actually got the goal.
Aye, I know. I saw it. It's an absolute topper.
Do you want
So
to let the viewers watch it?
Absolutely. Aye.
Let's
It's a
put this
beaut.
on.
I just picked the ball in the middle.
See,
I could see three balls.
what was the ref doing after you scored, by the way?
Everybody just gave me a round of applause.
Aye. The ref actually
Cuddles.
kind of bent down as if he was in total shock.
He bent
fair,
down.
I was
He
in
bent
total
down.
shock. I
Right.
was in total shock. I was just
You don't
kicking the
do
glass
that earned
down.
a buy. As you will get. That's jailbait.
What kind of weather? What was it like? Was it
26, 27, brilliant. It was
Nice.
beautiful.
nice? Right, I'm going to show the goal, but if you're listening to this on audio, obviously you'll not be able to see it, but you can tune into our YouTube channel. But here's Charlie Miller's goal for you. It was Scotland England charity game last
Scotland
week,
England game I've played the last 11 years. It was a goalie cup this year, so it's obviously the goalie cup from now on. The goalie had been every year with us, and fortunately this year, obviously we lost him. So it was in memory of the goalie.
Brilliant. Well, watch this goal. This is a peach. A peach, innit?
And by the way, the ref did bend. I didn't
I
notice
know,
that.
did you notice
Yeah,
Ben?
Aye.
I don't know why he bent
I think it
down
was
there.
I think he's just bound to you.
Bound,
Isn't he?
mate.
Bound, you go like bound to the ability of Charlie Miller. That's a topper.
So the final score was 6 each.
6 each, we lost in penalties.
Who's it to lead it back to you?
It was a bad pass for Ian
It
Jess.
was it? Aye,
Ian
because it
Jess.
wasn't the
Jess?
best.
I don't
Aye.
remember.
Aye, it wasn't the best bit,
Nah, it was a terrible
it's
pass
worked
for
out.
Ian Jess, but
but it worked out well because when you chest it, it's just bouncing once, twice, and then on the
when I
half off.
belly it, you mean? I just went
So you do that every year then, aye?
every year we've been doing it the last 11 years. So obviously, as I said, the goalie's not there this year. So we win the golf, lost the game in penalty kicks, but I was off by then and having a can of Heineken.
Nice, nice. Do you remember get asked to go to that, Derek? No?
I was at
He's-
it early doors, aye, but I didn't behave myself one of the year.
It was a Rangers Celtic game you were there, was it not?
I was at Rangers, aye.
Well,
That gets the juices flowing when it's a Rangers Celtic game, innit? I don't think I played in the
Scotland.
Scotland.
England,
No,
No.
I'm not being.
It's getting slower and slower, the pace.
No, I would jokingly say, was that walking football? But
No, it was. the
I
weather
don't
as
go.
well.
Aye, the guys like their golf as well.
Aye.
I'm not a golfer.
Remember, that's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're on this lash for 3 or 4 days, and then try to play football. I only had 3 cans before the game as well.
Do you know I met about 5 or 6 guys who Dubai loyal in Lounge 72 on Saturday.
All
It's
right.
guys that used to stay over there, but they've all moved back now.
Yep.
I've been over there.
I played golf for the boy
aye.
Sandy for Dubai Loyal.
Aye. I've been over with John Brown to the Dubai Loyal. Oh, by the way, how well do they look after you? Second to none. That's some place. So it is well looked after. So it was Bomber. That was an experience with Bomber.
I can imagine.
When he was having
I
a
hope
wee
it was
tip.
half a bevy.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, no,
No.
2 years ago. God
I
almighty,
know.
man. There's a
That's a
car
nightmare.
crash waiting to happen.
That is a car crash.
I've only known Bomber since he's been after drinks. I've never
Aye.
seen him while we drinking them.
Oh God,
He was. I mean, he was radio rental. So
and that's coming for Tonto.
crazy man.
Aye. Right, before we go into football and that, I just want to say a big happy birthday to one of our friends who took us down to Corby.
Yep.
Mo, it's her
Happy
birthday
birthday,
today.
Mo.
Congratulations.
Lovely Mo.
Mo.
Her and Stuart drove us down to
Yep.
Corby last year, and guess what, guys? I've been booked to go down to Corby again.
Very good.
I'm surprised I get
I
let
see
back
you're
in.
looking after yourself again.
Aye,
It's a
100%. So
an
I'm
occurring theme.
doing a wee
By the way,
gag.
you're just looking after yourself. You're just getting
You're
bin.
getting custard pied for Great Britain.
You make me feel bad now. But I'm going down on 21st of April, Mark Haitley. So that'll be interesting. What was he like? You going well with
I
Mark,
got on
didn't
well
you?
with Mark. Aye. People for any opinions, and I got on well with Mark. So
But
liked
you
him.
going all right with everybody. I know.
But I like Mark because the first full season I broke in, the big man was there, and I was kind of playing just behind him, and he was good for us. It was.
What was he like in a night out?
I don't think he went a night out.
Do you know? Oh, no.
Nah, he's all right. He's all right. We'll
Aye.
be quiet. He'll have a few beers, but he's takes it easy. Remember, he
Aye.
stayed in Milan and stayed in Monaco, so he'll have a wee glass of Chablis or something like that. And just take it easy.
Nice. Maybe it'll educate me into
You're
read?
on education.
How you meant to
level.
educate that brain?
I know I just seen somebody saying, does John for Crown Embroidery embroider wigs?
Aye, get his one. By the way.
Anyway, so that's me done all my advertising, right? Hibs away game, brilliant. Well, not
Sensational.
sensational.
It was,
Charlie, were you watching over there? Or were you back?
No, I was back for it. I just went in the house. I'd went for a couple of pints and then came back to watch the game in the house. And I turned on the TV and we're 1-0 down. I thought, what the shit's happening here?
I didn't think they were in it even at that point.
No, but I'd just seen the 8
Aye.
minutes and it was like 1-0. I'm going, oh, bloody hell. And then bang, 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 bang. And they played immense.
the goal was horrendous, obviously. Set piece. I mean, a lot of teams there that player peeling away to the back post. I don't know, it was Raskin and I don't know if it's Jack. I think it was that zonal Martin, which sometimes in the box you're better just picking up a man and that's your responsibility. But it was a real poor goal to lose. But what a reaction it was. Because there was a lot of an emotion with that game, with Ron Gordon, obviously, and obviously the Hibs fans were up for it. The Hibs players were up for it, and they were going to have a go at us. But when they've had a go, it just left them open. And by God, did we cut through them? By the way, so many times. It was an absolute joy, and that's what we were wanting in the cup final. I know we don't. You want to kind of put it, behind us, but you can't because you think, well, that energy that we had. We're asking.
We've not been on since the cup final.
No, but
we were on last week. Yeah.
Aye, we were on, and we were talking about that, Charlie, because just Jack sitting in there, but the energy of that trio, they were different class, and then obviously Sakala, in the wide areas, show that, working his backside off as well. They just looked a well-oiled machine, and they were superb that night.
That was good. It was really good to watch. To be fair, you could see every time they attacked, you think they're going to score a goal.
Who kind of stood out for you the most?
Kent was really good. No, Kent. Jack was really good. I thought he controlled the game, and then obviously didn't play the following game. I don't think he was on the bench. I think that was yesterday. He was on the bench again, but obviously maybe try to take care of him for the rest of the season.
Aye.
But I thought Jack was brilliant. Raskin and Campbell looked decent. Well, good. They're getting better all the time.
Jill, I thought Cantwell was different class, and I said to you last week, I thought he was a certain type of number 10, a kind of luxury player just sitting in the hole. He's a box to box. He works his socks off.
I thought he would have played in the cup final before Tillman. That's the one I thought would have played. I couldn't believe he played Lundstrom and Tillman.
Shouldn't have played Tillman because Tillman's a good player, but he was injured. Yeah. Lundstrom was struggling with an injury. Shouldn't have played, So there was mistakes made, and we're trying to put it behind us. We keep getting. It's hurt. It hurts you, doesn't it?
We had Stuart on last week for the Johnny Backman, the show we went to see, and he was still raging at it, and we were all the same, weren't we?
Aye.
It's a story.
But anyway, let's move on. Hibs was a great game, great performance, and well done. The boys done really well, and it was good to pick up.
Standards, but that's the standards. Right? I mean, you talk about setting standards. That was a standard. I mean, against Hearts, we were excellent, but we surpassed that.
Two Edinburgh games we've played,
and that's what we should expect with a level of player that we've got. and obviously the positivity for the manager, you know, the way he talks about the style of football and the way he wants to go about it, that was exactly what we wanted, you know. So pleasing to see it.
I think, see Cantwell, see the way he just doesn't lose the ball.
I
know,
just loved his engine.
But even when he's falling down on his arse, he's still got the ball at his feet. You know, he's been brilliant.
And his choice of a pass as well. At times, he's capable of producing that. And you're talking about that wee bit of, when he's falling down, he still holds on it. He's capable of producing that wee bit of magic. But what I like about him, when it's on to play, he just keeps it simple. He keeps it, he passes and he moves. Raskin as well. But it's that energy. So it's that movement, that running power.
It definitely brings a lot of energy because he's always in the move. He's always want to go forward. Okay, he'll play the side pass now and again, but he likes to beat a player. He'll pass and then he'll move to the next stage of the.
They're always probing Charlie, and even Raskin as well. And I know, and if it is known, they will need to sometimes pass it sideways, you know. But it's not to pass it and just stand still. They're away looking for a return. They're coming off at the angle.
Well, Cantwell, I thought he would have been a good sign. I really did. I thought he would have been good, and I thought. He played really well yesterday again, even though the team didn't play that great. It wasn't a great game. Obviously, they had the way they were going to set up yesterday and things like that. But if teams open up against us, then they know they're going to struggle against us. And it was great to see Wednesday night. It really was. And I thought Cantwell he's good. He's a good player. He's going to be good for us. He's only going to get better the fitter he gets. I know he's a fit boy anyway. He looks a fit boy. He looks after himself. Raskin the same. And good for us.
It seems to be kind of gelling together now, especially. I see some of the balls in to Cholak as well. You know, we see Sakala running down the wing, and he's in the box now. You know, whereas Morelos is normally no.
It might seem strange. I think we look better with Cholak when we're away from home.
Right.
I don't know how. I think
I know
we're getting more space and it's a bit more open, but it seems to be when we're at Ibrox and now everything, like yesterday especially, because Cholak didn't really get much of a kick.
Aye. And
it was because it was 10 men behind the ball. He'd like 8 defenders in the centre of that 18-yard box, and Cholak wasn't really getting much of the ball. They obviously had to go wide and try and get a few crosses in and things like that. And then obviously we got the goal for a cross. It's a great header for big goals. I heard Derek had a grand on him at 33s to score the first goal.
Aye, there you go. Someone
Carol, did you hear that, Carol?
I'm not a betting man. Nah, it was difficult yesterday. It was a kind of game I expected to go that way because they had injuries themselves. I've watched them a few times. They're a decent wee football side, so they are, Raith. But when you come to Ibrox, and the boys have watched that game on Wednesday night, that put the fear into you. So they were never going to open up against us.
Do you know what they done? See when they came, they just stuck to their game plan.
Of course, and they sat in. And by the way, they did defend well. They made it difficult. I thought, looking at that and probably knowing that how they were going to play Charlie, I didn't think it was a game for Sakala. I think Sakala's better when there's space to run in behind or into the wider areas. When it's compact, I don't think he's probably clever.
He's not the brightest.
Well, he's not maybe clever with the wee give and goes and that touch. Still gives you 100%.
We could have went 1-0 down just before we scored.
Aye. So I'm thinking, is it more a game for like kind of maybe a Hadji, maybe a right, you know, guys that are better dribblers. But it was always going to be like that in the chest. But I thought, and you were crying out for it earlier in the season, I thought it was crying out for Cholak and Morelos. A game like that, because they were going to sit in, and the more balls you're putting in, you're just looking for the wee scraps, the wee second balls, and that's what guys like Cholak and Morelos, they thrive on. You needed that. I thought that's what they needed. But I get why he stuck with that same team, roughly apart from Lundstrom coming in, because they played so well and he wants that kind of continuity. But I just think for games like that, when they're just going to sit in, that was an ideal opportunity. But Charlie was saying earlier in the season, play two up top.
I think Michael Beale's actually listened to the feedback after the Old Firm game, because he dropped Cantwell and Raskin, and now he seems to be sticking with a...
Well, the other ones, that's what I don't understand, because they're the future. Like Sir Kent doesn't look as if he's the future at the moment anyway. Morelos doesn't. Tillman, that doesn't look like it either. So we've got to play Cantwell, Raskin and Cholak. You've got to play these guys because you're building a team for next season, and these guys are going to be a big part of it. We don't know if the three I just mentioned and Kamara, these 4 guys, we don't know if we're going to, doesn't look as if we're going to be here. So I don't know why we play them in the big games. We have to get the new boys in right away, get them to see what it's like to play an Old Firm game early doors, and then take it for there.
When you play against Celtic, you need energy. You need running power. And they 2 boys have got it. And I know Raskin tires. He's tired because he hasn't played a lot of football. But that's coming. So it is. But the two of them, that's what they will have. They'll have that energy.
And hunger, because they're young kids as well.
Mhm.
And they see where they're at. They've left the standard legend. Norwich, no disrespect to these clubs, are good clubs, but they've not got 50,000 fans, and they're not at the same level as Rangers. So the wee guys must be like, what's happening here? This is a great move for us.
I don't know if you agree with me or not, Charlie. It's like sometimes, see the younger boys, don't fear anything. It's like with they're at that age, a younger age, they just want to go out and play and prove a point. It's like when you get a wee bit older, you get nearer your 30s, you start kind of worrying about certain things and all that. These guys don't at that age. They just want to go out and play and express themselves. And with that energy, which you need against Celtic. So it's pleasing to see that we've got them in the door.
Aye. Well, I'm quite old-fashioned when it comes to I think you should always be starting your best 11 no matter what. And if you should know who's like up top, or you should know who's like left wing back, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what Michael Beale was saying yesterday. Says, I've got my starting 11. If you want in that team, you need to fight to get that position. And then if you get that position, then the other person's obviously trying to fight to get it back. You know what I mean? It's
I get that.
like there was too much rotation before, I think.
It's got to be. He's got to find his best 11 and then stick by it. What he thinks is his best 11, even if I'm not showing it in the pitch at that moment or whatever, he's got to stick by it if he's got to gear him. He can't just gear him, say this is my best team for one game and then go, oh, it no worked, and then take them out. So you've got to go 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 games to see how they are and how they settle in and take it for them.
And the beauty is with the 5 subs, you can change it. So start strong, start well, and if you need to rest players, you can take them off, rest them. But if you're needing something a wee bit extra, that's where you look to the bench, and you've got a lot of quality there.
Right. Last week was probably the first time we've ever spoke about the board or anything like that. And normally we don't like to get involved in this, but
I don't think we spoke about. I think we touched on the recruitment, didn't we?
Aye, recruitment, Ross Wilson.
Which was, I think I'd like to think we're all a wee bit kind of disappointed, in the recruitment. Listen, we're not just trying to kind of pick bones, but you look at it overall and you think, could it be better? And I think, aye, it could be. I mean, everybody's open to criticism. The players get it, week in, week out, when they take to the field. So sometimes, and we spoke about recruitment, if we don't think it's probably as good as where it should be, I think we're quite right to voice our opinion. That's what the game's all about. That's what we talk about. We always talk about the guys in Saturday, the Union Bears. They buy the merchandise, they pay their tickets, they create a brilliant atmosphere. They weren't allowed to get into the game, and I don't know. I'm of the opinion that you should be allowed to voice your opinion, whether they were allowed in or not. I know my boys go to the games; they weren't too happy with how they're treated at the Hibs game, the policing. So I think they were maybe looking towards the club to help them, to make a statement, to help them out, because sometimes they're treated very poorly. So they probably felt the only way they can voice their opinion is with a banner or whatever. Now, I get that it can't be, too unruly or absolute horrible, but, it's a shame that they weren't in there.
See, to be fair, see the way the clubs have treated us in the last 20 years or 15 years when everybody voted us down apart from Kilmarnock. I know we want to go and follow the team and support the team and that, but see for a season we just we're boycotting every away game, then you would see things change.
Oh, big time, aye.
We need them. We need them. But, and this is, I'm saying, hey, the club is about the fans, and the fans
They have to be treated properly. It's as simple as that.
And that's it. When you go into the stadium, if the team plays well, hey, they'll be applauded and they'll get all the pats in the back. And if they don't, the players, well, they get the criticism, and sometimes that might be what's happening with the board or the recruitment side of it. That's our only way to voice your opinion. And listen, there's a lot went on over the last week or so with the Gary Lineker thing with the free speech. I think this day and age you should be allowed to voice an opinion, and that's the only way the fans, I think, can get that opinion
You're
across.
obviously talking about recruitment, and I've not been overjoyed with recruitment in the summer. I thought we could have done more in this window here, but I'm very happy with the two we brought in. I have to admit that. I'm very happy with the two we brought in.
And we've got the platform here, Charlie, to say that. And this is what you're saying. We're delighted with the two boys that have come in.
The boys that have come in have been very good. And I said at the beginning of the season, I thought it was quantity rather than quality. But I think we've brought in 2 quality players in January. Also, although we wanted 1 or 2 more, we could probably brought in another striker who would maybe, because it looks as if Morelos is away. And I'd have probably brought in another striker and just kind of put the wee man to the side probably and try to kind of build again, get them in early doors and build again for next season. But
we're still waiting to see how, and it's lovely to see him back and come onto the park. Young Yilmaz. I mean, there's a few bob spent on him. I know he's a young guy, but when you spend that amount of money, you expect a certain level of player. So we're looking forward to seeing him over the next number of weeks to see if he can. Now, we know about Barisic. Barisic's second to none going forward, but defensively for me, he's not the greatest. So I'm really intrigued and interested to see what Yilmaz is going to bring to the table.
I think Yilmaz might end up maybe a left winger. That's what I think he might end up. I think he's going to be more of a left winger. Maybe a left of the free in midfield. Might still be a wee bit lightweight for that, but I think we'll end up seeing him playing left higher up a wee bit.
So we're looking forward to seeing him, you know, in the flesh, getting some games under his belt, you know, and because that is a fair bit of money for us to spend, certainly in that position.
100%.
Aye. Sorry, just going back to the Union Bears, because obviously Wednesday night against Hibs, it was like people getting squashed and things like that, but it wasn't really reported anywhere. It was only because of social media that we've seen that. You know, so why is the press not reporting things like that? You know, it's nuts.
And there must have been guys for the press in there as well.
Aye, well, I've seen a few people. I was talking to them at the weekend, and they're saying it was really quite scary. And your boys were there as well, Derek, weren't they?
One of them was there.
How can they be getting squashed when they're sitting?
Because of the wider thing we done.
Coming in.
They're funneled right in, by the way.
Hell.
And they've got the play.
It's like Parkhead, that one way in at Parkhead, man.
It's not very nice, you know, and it's see that when they're funneled in, that creates to me a wee bit of a panic, you know, and we know it's what's happened in the past. You know, we've got history about that, and it must be a horrible feeling, you know, when that's so. That's why you might start to panic a wee bit, you know, and there might be a bit of abuse getting shouted. But so that's where we've got to be careful with that. It's got to be policed right. So it has. So and I think they're quite right, you know, to voice that opinion. Safety. We're talking about safety. You want to go and watch the game safely, you know, get into that ground, support your team. Singing, shouting, you know, give it everything, and then come out of that stadium safely and get yourself home. And I think that's what my boy, one of them, he didn't feel too safe. There you go.
Aye. Right, moving on, because we've got 9 players out of contract this summer, right? So just going to go through them, and I want you to tell me who you would like to see get an extension. So obviously, Morelos is one of the 9 players, and we've got Scott Arfield, Stephen Davis, Philip Helander, Ryan Jack, Ryan Kent, Alan McGregor, Malik Tillman. And Kieran Wright, he's a 22-year-old young goalkeeper that's been kind of out on loan quite a bit.
Well, I think you can forget Stephen Davis. I think you can forget Philip Helander.
Right.
I think you can forget Kent. I think Tillman.
Do you think Kent's away?
I think Kent will leave because he's taking too long to
I'm
sign.
not so sure about that.
Well, it's 3 months before the season finishes, and he's not signed yet. So, and I think Malik Tillman's going to be above our budget for what we want to sign because I don't believe he's any better than Cantwell, and Cantwell's signed. So I would obviously maybe know for Tillman. I would give Jack. I would still. I know Greasy well, but he's still our best goalkeeper until we sort that position. That Greasy's still my number 1, and he gets it.
Does he want another year? Do you think?
Probably no. And I like Scotty Arfield. He comes on and scores goals like yesterday again. And I'm surprised he's not starting there in the attacking area, but I'd probably give Scott one as well.
Right.
Just a year because I think it's
Jack and Kent for me. I still think there's a wee bit of work to be done. I think, and I think it is quite well documented. When you hear the manager speaking about Kent, you know, the relationship they've got goes a way back. So that's the only thing. That's quite intriguing.
Well, Kieran Wright, the 22-year-old goalkeeper.
Kieran's right. I know Kieran.
Really know wee Kieran, so I can't say I or no.
Different class, Kieran.
Is it?
Well, if he's a good goalie, then we keep him. But obviously, we've got McCrory there, who's 25 now and signed a new 2 or 3 year deal, and he's not got a chance to be number 1 for. So obviously,
but the thing,
Morelos. I think Morelos' time's up at the club as well. I think he's away because he's no signed and he wants fortunes. We've just not got it for somebody who doesn't get fit and come back.
Especially when he goes away after the holidays.
So Davis, McGregor, Hollander, certainly. For me, Kent, Ryan Jack, I think you see even Ryan's fit and he's at it. And sometimes we do need to kind of, look after him. And I think that's what he did the other day.
100%.
But
Right.
when he's at it, he's a top player.
But I would give
So he
Ryan
is.
Kent another contract,
it's-
of course, but I don't think he'll be here.
But it's not just what Charlie. I don't think it's just what he gives you on the park. I think it's in that dressing room. And
Who's that, Jack?
Jack.
Aye, I'd give Jack a deal.
You need the older heads. So you do.
Definitely give Jack another year.
Morelos, I think even it was interesting listening to the manager speak about him. And the one thing that kind of caught my attention right away was when he used the word energy. Energy, not just on the field, but within the dressing room. So it looks as if Morelos is off. But
were you surprised he was that open when he was talking about Morelos yesterday?
he is very open, isn't he? And we've been kind of, well, no, when he's critical, but a wee bit surprised at times that he gives you so much.
Aye.
But
he did say, listen, I'm not
it's
saying
great to
anything
hear
that
that,
I won't
honestly.
say to his face as well. But I just thought, wow, that's quite
Aye.
expecting it,
But when he's posed a question's been fired at him, he doesn't shirk it. That's for sure, and he answers it honestly.
Charlie, I'm a bit like you, right? I can't imagine Rangers without an Alan McGregor. I don't know why.
No, it's just because we've not replaced it. We've not got another goalie yet. It doesn't look as if we've signed one yet in a pre-contract or anything, unless he's going to go with McCrory. But I think obviously where the rumours is we're going to sign another goalie. It looks like your boy Angus Gunn have been linked with, or Butland. So, and the two of them are good goalies, definitely. But
Who's the goalie coach at Rangers?
Colin Stewart.
Is it?
That's what some Stephen.
Would have like some McGregor in that role, but even as backup, if something.
Aye. Well, Stephen's just said, would you keep McGregor on as a goalkeeping coach?
Aye.
Just around the place, I get that 100%. Does Griggsy need to be a goalkeeping coach? Is that the thing he wants to do? Get up and coach goalies? I don't know.
Well, you
know
know him better than anybody.
No, but no, I don't know him that great as much as when we were younger or whatever. And obviously, Bob's closer with Griggsy. But
what's Bob say then?
I've not spoke to Bob.
Aye, get Bob on the block.
Bob won't say nothing because he's got a cheeseburger stuck in his mouth.
There you go. Bob's going to batter you.
So, right, moving on. Obviously, Stan, Gordon and Lindsay, they do their podcast every second week as well. And they've got Craig Moore on the show this Wednesday night. And he was a good friend of yours as well, Charlie.
Yes.
What's he like as a guy?
Aye, well, Derek knows him well. Derek stayed next to me and Craig Moore when we stayed in Bovril.
Aye.
Derek stayed about 50 yards away from us. And Derek used
Must have been some neighbours.
Derek used to take me and Craig out and get us drunk all the time. Nah, he didn't.
But Craig's good pals,
Craig's
very good pals with Barry as well. Aye.
So Craig's a great
He
lad.
was an assassin as a player, Craig Moore.
Good
Wasn't he? Oh God, aye. Yeah, I mean, you didn't. He was like in my day. I don't know if you remember a guy called Gregor Stevens.
He wasn't as dirty as Gregor
Oh,
Stevens.
by the way, Craig. Aye.
Big Oz
Could play as well. I'm not saying he couldn't. He was a very good football player, but I like that about a player, but an assassin, which is a good thing. And that's how because I like guys like that are a wee bit kind of.
And it was a shame for Craig because Walker kept on playing him at right back.
That's right.
And he was a centre back all day long. He was brilliant at centre back, and then obviously Advocate came in. He wanted to leave, and then Advocate came back, wanted him back, and then he played centre back, and he was captain for a season or something like that as well.
You played against him in Australia, didn't you?
I played in the same team as him.
I thought you played against him in Australia.
No, I played in the same team.
Is that when Big Ange was your?
Well, for a month, I was there about 2 weeks, and I left after Big Ange.
Aye.
Because Craig felt with Craig right away, and that was it.
Aye.
We were all fire exit. We were all wanting out. So
what was it like being neighbours with them? Was it no playing pranks and jokes and everything? And everything there?
No, I was.
Were you sensible?
I'm a wee bit older. I was quite sensible.
no, he wasn't.
It was. I think it was Darling that and Ross.
I know.
Where they used to go. It's me, Charlie. Yeah.
Remember, this was
Boy.
25 years ago or something.
Aye.
What's the way about it?
I didn't like what we stayed, to be honest with you.
Did you like it?
Nah. So fur coat and the knickers.
I've never had a fur coat.
Too hikey down there.
Right, so the Raith Rovers game again. We've already kind of spoke about that anyway. It's quite
It's a
boring,
game
wasn't it?
I expected it, Bill, because we knew.
Do you think it was anything to do? See, because the Union Bears were there and there was no
It
atmosphere.
didn't help, actually.
I mean,
Didn't help.
I think that's because of the way the game was, and it was a wee bit flat. It was, and that's down to Raith sitting in. Obviously, sometimes you need to create that atmosphere, and that's why the Union Bears are there, because that's when it does go a wee bit kind of flat and a wee bit quiet, that's when you get them going. Do you know something? See, as a player, there's nothing better when you hear the voice of the fans and they're all going at it. It gives you a wee extra
I think we
yard.
spoke about it last week because Michael Beale was kind of talking about the Liverpool game the night before. He says sometimes everything just aligns the fans' atmosphere, and so that must be pretty hard for the players as well.
Because you notice if the Union Bears not been there, even though that drum can be a pain in the ass sometimes. I wouldn't like to be stuck behind that. But no, 100%. You could see right away, you could feel it. Because it was the game was going on, it was 20 odd minutes, 25 minutes, I think maybe more before we scored. And you could feel the fans' frustration. You could hear it in the pub as well. The fans in the pub getting frustrated.
You always get that one fan sitting right next to the microphone, didn't you?
You always do.
You need them big time, and I think they were sorely missed.
I mean, they were allowed to go in, but they decided not to go in because all their cupboard was locked up and their banners were gone. So they decided not to go in. But
that was a banner about the police.
The police, aye. And it was meant to be. I was reading I think it was Evening Times tonight. Chris Jack was saying it was actually a banner with a pig with a police heads on it. So that's what the banner was,
right?
So anyway, let's see.
These were missed, boys.
Aye, definitely missed. There's Stuart, a big pal, Stuart Boyd. I've not even read this question, but he's always got a decent question, so I'll read it out. If Ryan Jack stays fit, it's like a several £1 million player. Kent, in my opinion, is vastly overrated and certainly doesn't give us the return we all expect for his high salary. Can't even say that. Morelos, let him go. It's his liability who doesn't want to be there. Keep Scotty Arfield. Just my thought, guys.
I'm similar.
You were the same, weren't you?
I always see Arfield's attitude's absolutely brilliant. And he comes on to that game yesterday, and you always like a midfield player that can go beyond. The Kent one, it's obviously Stuart's not a fan of Kent, and I kind of get that to a certain extent. At times he flatters to deceive. He doesn't score enough goals, obviously, but what I do think he does, he attracts players to you, so it leaves space for other players. That's what. But run about the box, that we change of direction, change of pace, and we all talk about the numbers. He needs to get more assists. If he's not going to be, and he isn't going to be a prolific goal scorer, we can see that. That's evident even in the Hibs game where he should have had a hat-trick, to be honest with you, the chances he had. Just think he freezes a wee bit in front of goals. But no, he's a player. He'd be an absolute nightmare to play against.
Certainly since Beale's come in, his performance is much better.
It's a free role, Charlie. It's a role that you would love in that area of the
much
park.
Better, though. I'll give him that. He's been much better from Beale, from Giovanni to Beale. It's been much improved.
And again, we can, and we talk about, and he is a flair player. I like his attitude. I like that he gives you everything. It doesn't always come off. I get that, see that. But I love guys that, if it doesn't come off, doesn't shirk responsibility.
He one yesterday, didn't
he did, but doesn't shirk responsibility, and that's an important thing, because when things are going against you, not going too well, he's still willing to receive the ball, and go and take on players.
He does, 100%. But as I said,
that's what I like about him.
Much better performance since Beale's came in.
Is Curry Muncher asking, did Fernando stay in your same estate?
Curry Muncher.
No, Fernando was in Newton Mearns.
Aye. He was asking that. There's somebody, everybody has got opinions. There's WATP are saying Union Bears should just stick to supporting the club and leave politics out of football.
I don't know if it's so much we're talking politics. I think they've been treated unfairly going to away games, and they just want a wee bit of protection and treated better.
Aye. But it's not just the Union Bears that were treated badly at the Hibs game.
That's what I'm saying. When you go to a game of football, you don't want to be treated like an animal. You want to, you're paying good money. You got to watch a game of football, So they're just at times, being treated like that, they don't feel safe as well. So, and I think that's the only. If nobody's, I would assume that the Union Bears or other Rangers supporters have felt that probably wrote to the board, looking for them, can you do something? Can you take a bit of action? And if they're not doing that, the only way they can voice their opinion, what I've said earlier, is be doing that at the games.
So surely they've got a spokesman for that.
They need that. Aye. And that's not just Rangers, that's every club. That should happen.
Aye, like a fans representative.
I've got to have a
course.
spokesman for it.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they used to have it used to be the wee guy Ross. It used to be the kind of. I think he stepped in last year. Moving on to the Motherwell game for the weekend.
They're in a good. There's a good
I'm
way
going-
at the minute.
I'm going 4-1 because their bubble's got to burst. Because there's no chance that you can play like you can get this many points under Kettlewell and you can't date for Stevie Hamill. He's obviously lost the changing room, or else they've just he's just give them a wee bit of a lift becoming in this Kettlewell guy. But I'm going to go 4-1.
I tweaked a few things, Kettlewell. So he did. Obviously, he was there as under 18 manager, youth manager. He watches the game as well. And you've got your own philosophy. He plays with two up top. So he has a go, and he's got a certain level of confidence into the side, because that's what they were lacking that. It's always a difficult game at times against Motherwell.
He's obviously learned for taking Ross County down.
Wee bit of managerial experience as well. So you go in. FIP is a funny thing, at times with managers. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and for whatever reason, the players have reacted to Kettlewell really well. So it's again, we have shown the levels that we're capable of. So if we get there, we'll rip them apart.
Well, maybe they're fighting for their lives now, and the chairman's come in and said, "We'll double your bonuses." And I went, "Okay," and then I started playing.
What do you think the mentality is with the Rangers squad now? Do you think they still believe they've got a chance with the league?
They've
No,
got to
I don't
believe.
think
I
so.
think they'll believe they can win the league. Obviously,
I
sell it
don't.
flying, but you've still got to win every game. That's what I've still got to do, and we're winning every game, apart for the cup game. But we're still taking care of the league business, and we've got to just keep on doing that, and hopefully they can make a mistake.
I think there's a realisation the league's out of our reach, but the manager demands, and that's what he keeps. It's not just whether it's game time, it's at training. So there's standards there, but also guys are playing for the future. And whether it's not going to be at Rangers, other clubs will be looking at them. So, I mean, you're a football player. As soon as you cross that white line, you should be given everything. And I get sometimes, things going maybe at home and that, in your private life. But these guys are a lot of young men. They're lucky to be at Rangers. So that's how they'll begin it. They're lucky because they want to stay there. But if they're no, then there's always people looking at them. So you're playing for your future.
Yeah.
I've seen somebody saying about Roof again.
I feel sorry for him, and I don't understand how. It was Ross, the boys. I'll go back to my darling Ross now to show some things and all that. I mean, the guy doesn't even. Nobody wants to be injured. I feel heartbroken for that guy. The amount of injuries, it's absolutely horrendous. How is his mental health? Knowing that I bet you he tries his backside off. In terms of training, get himself back in there, and then he said the shoulder one, it's a hip, the calf. I feel for him. I really do.
It's strange because they said that he's known about it for ages, and that's what's been causing all the other injuries. You know what I mean, so why not just get it done and get it out of the way?
Well, if that's what's causing his injury, other injuries, and that the medical people know that, then he should have done that for the beginning. He should have got it up done because he was out long enough anyway.
He's a good player, the boy, but I just really I feel for him that the amount of injuries that he's had. It's horrible. So it is horrible for him.
Right, that's us then. In fact, you've done your prediction. You've not done your prediction.
3-0 Rangers.
I was going to do 3-0, but it's fine.
What are you going to go for?
Well,
You got to say something like 6, didn't you?
Nah, I think it'll be a tough game actually.
It will be, but but again, it depends on that Motherwell side. Will they come at us? That's if they do, well, they'll get found out. But I think they'll sit in a wee bit, but they'll pick and choose their moments, and that's when they do that, we hit them, that when they leave the gaps, we can certainly exploit them.
Hopefully by the time we're driving home, the draw will be done as well.
I know, aye.
We'll see who we're going to get. Would you like to get Celtic then now?
I think we'll probably meet them at some point, won't we? So
No,
doesn't make any
I would
difference.
rather have them in June the 4th.
Aye.
Is it June the 4th, June the 3rd?
June the
You
7th.
on holiday?
June the 3rd. No, I know we're June the 4th. I'm going to be
That
away.
is June the 4th. Thanks, man.
Is it? think it's June the
I think
3rd.
it's June the 3rd or 4th, I'm sure.
June the 3rd, because the last game.
June the 3rd, that is.
I know there's a game that it's on in June the 4th that I'm going to. Aye, it's June the 3rd.
Right.
I'd
Cheers,
rather
Derek.
play them.
Cheers for that, Derek.
And do you want to know why? Because, like say, the Cantwells, the Raskins and all that, just give them a wee bit more time and just build up to that, because it's massive for us. This, so it is.
I'll try to
Massive.
beat them in a final anyway, aren't we?
Aye. I know. I'm still gutted about that the other week. But anyway, right, I just want to say once again thanks to all our sponsors, but especially to our new sponsor that have just come on board today. You can check out their Facebook page, by the way, so you see this guy's embroidery stuff, by the way. It's the best.
Oh, I know you've got all the gear.
it's really, it's top
Embroidered
stuff.
that bloody Leyland Scott thing you've got on.
Ooh, it's one of my holiday tops. Right, anyway, thanks again to
Cheers, guys.
Crown Embroidery, DB Dental Care, ISG Resin Form Specialist, Plugged In IT Business Solutions, Giant Sea Architectural, and we'll see you all again next week. All right,
Cheers.
take
Cheers,
care.
guys.
Oh, helps if I push a button. There we go.
With the drinking and the bees and the flying and the screaming and the